Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Unplugged Life podcast with me, Clare Gent. And today's episode is a little bit different because all the previous episodes that you might have listened to have only involved myself. But I'm really excited and honored to introduce our guest for today. It's a very dear friend of mine and our therapist of Therapist Corner. If you haven't seen that, then head to the Instagram to check that out. I'll put the links in the description of this episode. And yeah, welcome to Clare Patterson.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad. For those of you who don't know, Claire and I go way back. Like, what was it? I was trying to calculate 24 years, maybe?
I think since we were 11, so yes.
Yeah, that's giving away our
Everyone's gonna
age.
know how old we are now. Sorry. You can
Damn
bleep that bit
it.
out.
Yeah, the secret's out. No, exactly. We go way back, and yeah, it's really exciting to actually, like we were just saying before we even started recording this, right? To have one of our kind of deep, profound conversations that we tend to have, but have it from like a work angle, I guess. So yeah, I'm really excited to have you on, and especially like talking about this week's theme that we've been discussing around gratitude. I think everyone, yeah, will just get so much out of you, out of your kind of the angle of therapy and how gratitude or having this kind of gratitude practice can really make a huge difference, I guess, in your mental health journey. And also, ultimately, kind of what is gratitude? You know, what does it actually look like? I guess, because many people might have different perceptions of it, but it's really interesting to get a kind of expert's opinion on it.
Oh gosh.
No
No,
pressure.
no pressure. Calling me an expert, having known me since I was 11, I don't know about that.
Exactly. There's some stories that, yeah, on both sides, to be fair. So yeah,
Yeah.
basically I wanted to dive into the topic and kind of position it around my niche, which is, yeah, high achieving moms, women who are in this kind of always on world. I guess like nowadays in the modern world, we're constantly connected to things. We're constantly receiving information and it feels like it's a bit non-stop. And I know like you and me both have been on that kind of hamster wheel of just going until we suddenly crashed and then decided to change our path and go down a path of more healing, which is why we're here today. And ultimately, I guess when we're in this modern day world, very top line, just to start, I mean, how does gratitude help us in that situation?
I mean, it's a really, really good topic, and it's. I think gratitude for me is it's a feeling. It's you can sort of get conceptual about things sometimes. You know, how do I be more grateful? How do I write? Do I write about it? Do I journal about it? Do I chant about it? You know, you can sort of make it an idea. This sort of concept of gratitude, but I think for me, it goes right into the core of us gratitude. It's something that I think we are, you know, if you really stop and sit with yourself, there's just, isn't it amazing that we're actually here, that we actually exist, that we're having this conversation, that people are listening to it, that, you know, just put your hand out and have a look at just how intricate your human body is. And as Claire, I know we've had so many honest conversations about relationships with the body as well, and how you can just treat yourself as a sort of vehicle sometimes. I do sort of joke, but it is serious. You know, the work I do as a psychotherapist, you see a lot of people who have burnt out because they've been on the system that you and I have been on, that we were educated to be on, that we didn't really have a choice but to be on. And the result is that you completely disconnect from, you know, your body, which is where your feelings are. And that's where this sense of gratitude is. That's where the sense of aliveness is. And it's difficult really to talk about it without again making it conceptual. But you know, gratitude, it's sort of that, I don't know if you know what I'm saying here. It's a sort of sense of just this is amazing. What an opportunity we all have here. We've all got so much freedom. We're incredibly lucky to live in the world we most of us live in at the moment. You know, there is still a lot of freedom that we have. We can make a lot of choices for ourselves. Um, we can choose what we eat, we can choose who we spend time with, we can navigate our career to a degree, we can at least set goals, we can manifest things. And we've all got that opportunity, and it can be easy to feel that we're stuck, that we're still caught in this conditioning, that someone's telling us what to do like they did at school. And they're not, nobody's doing that. So we all have like our future open to us. And as you've done, you know, you've totally transformed your life. I hope you've not been too modest with your listeners, because having come from, you know, our 20s when we were living in that flat in London and had absolutely no money, but doing whatever we could to survive. And now to sort of your life in Barcelona, Spain, doing this, you know, what you love. I know you love this because I can just see the joy that this brings. It's if you can do it, anyone can. And you know, that to me, it's that the gratitude for being alive, the gratitude for having the opportunity. It doesn't matter how far down you think you've gone. And I mean, there are times when both of us have been at complete rock bottom. We've been sitting in that flat, just bawling our eyes out, like, oh, this is so, I can't swear. Can I swear? I don't know. Crap. And not wanting to, or not feeling that the change is possible. And you know, I think it's so lovely to know that it is, and that people, that we do have that possibility. Everyone has that possibility, even if it doesn't feel like they do. So I would say that is that it's a feeling, and it's
Mhm.
and I'm not being a Pollyanna here. I'm not saying, oh, just click your fingers and you'll feel grateful and happy and dance.
Mhm.
It's a matter of sort of doing the work to unravel what maybe is getting in the way of those feelings, of which gratitude might be one.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that gives any food for thought, or anything you want to ask
Yeah,
or add or share.
absolutely. No, no, definitely. No, thank you so much. That was such a beautiful kind of explanation. I mean, kind of deep dive, I guess, into gratitude more than anything. A few points like I wanted to pick out of that. So what I loved is that you kind of stripped back what what we should be grateful for in a way. And I think nowadays that can get really, really lost because especially this particular audience, kind of being always connected to the digital world, it's very based on image, possibly, and kind of the shoulds of like what you should be doing with your life, how you should look like, what kind of family you should have, or what relationship you should be in, and it's all that kind of dynamic. And with that, we can get really lost in, oh, I have to do that because so and so is doing that. And that can make us really distance from actually what we would like to do as ourselves, like kind of connecting to our own identity and connecting to our true needs, and taking us really far away from that gratitude point because we're always looking at things from lack. Basically, we're always looking at things from, oh, I don't have this, I need to have
Yeah,
this, I should have this to be happy, to be successful, to be rich, to whatever it is. And yeah, it moves us super far away from that gratitude standpoint. And what
yeah,
you were saying, or what I kind of got out from what you were saying, is that, okay, but just like look at your hand and kind of like be in awe of like everything that your hands do for you during the day, or like, yeah, connecting to your body. Or I don't know, sometimes I just think like making myself a cup of tea, how lucky I am to have that little comfort and to take time out and kind of nourish myself in that way, I guess. There was something that you dived into like a little bit, but I wanted to see if we could explore it a little bit more, which was around that, yes, you can't just snap your fingers and be grateful for everything and live in this kind of like little gratitude bubble and be like, whoa, life's great, everything's great, I'm super happy, like no problem, because that's not life. So what would you say, or how could people navigate gratitude in those challenging times? I mean, I'm literally thinking about myself, which is not like, it's not a crazy challenge by any means, but I just spent 45 minutes trying to get my toddler to sleep, and my patience was running very thin, and I was, on the edge of kind of shouting and getting angry, and I was getting stressed because I wanted to jump on and record this podcast. I was thinking about the washing up I had to do and all of these things, and the kind of pile of everyday tasks that come onto you. I guess in those moments, I've done some work on gratitude, so I still was able to sort of lean into that idea of I'm so grateful, but obviously in those challenging moments,
through gritted teeth.
exactly, like I love this, I love everything, it's fine, thank you for this opportunity. But
Smash
that's
his
what I'm
glass.
saying, right? Exactly. It's sometimes not available, and maybe people listening to this think, okay, this is fine, I understand what gratitude is, I understand I should bring more of it into my life, but I find it really challenging. Like, where would you encourage people to start, or what kind of, I guess, what kind of advice would you have maybe on that?
I mean, I really think making anything a goal can be very challenging because, as you said, we're conditioned to exist from a place of lack. So this is why people want to have money. They want to have a nicer house, a bigger car. There's this idea that there's not enough with what they have at the moment, and I think it can be difficult to. What can sometimes happen is that, oh, bloody hell, here's another thing I haven't got, and that's gratitude. So you've got to be quite careful that you don't fall into that trap of thinking you need to have something in order to be something else. To sort of, oh, well, I'm feeling like I'm not in a state of gratitude. Oh, this is awful. I need to, as you say, plaster on a smile and everything's wonderful. And this is why I don't often suggest positive affirmations to my clients who struggle with low self-esteem. Because if you see, I love myself, I'm wonderful, I'm beautiful, written on the bathroom mirror and post-it notes every morning, and you're feeling like crap, you don't, it's sort of quite, it can be quite jarring. You're not really being honest with yourself. So I think it's lovely. I'm not saying everything is doom and gloom. I think gratitude is definitely possible, and if there's the sense that you're not in a state of gratitude at the moment, it's not to say that that won't change. It absolutely can change. But I think it's a recognition of the state you're in at the moment is the state you're in at the moment. And is there anything you can find that is okay with the state you're in at the moment? Even if it's, well, at least I'm alive. It's not become so bad that I have, as I know people who have done, sadly, taken their lives. It's not become that bad. I'm still here. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor. I'm still breathing. I've not got to the point where it's become too much, and that is a really strong thing. I mean, even if people are listening to this right now, there's obviously that sense of it's like a fight in people. There's that striving to change, to be different. So if you're in that state where the toddler's crying and all the dishes are stacking up and just things aren't going right, I would just say breathe, to be honest. And just life can be bloody difficult, and there's no sugarcoating that. And that's okay. And sometimes you might want to just pick up the phone and just vent and rage and complain and say, look, it's just really, really, really terrible. It's difficult, and I don't know. I'm feeling it's hard, and if there's no one you can do that to, then therapy can help. But generally, sort of a good friend, or if you just want to, I don't know, run it out, or punch some pillows, or just do something physically active to sort of get some of that frustration out. And then that sort of brings you back to that state of calm, rather than judging yourself. I should be in a different state. I should be feeling grateful. Just sort of accept that you're a human, and just life can be really hard. I don't think anyone is having necessarily an easy time with it, because the way the system is set out, back in the day, you'd have had a community to help raise children. The technology is it's a bloody nightmare sometimes. That it wouldn't, I don't know how natural that is even. It's all the screens we've got. It's not very good for our eyes. It's lots of challenges that come with that as well. So I think it's sort of accepting that there's nothing wrong with you, that this is the system that we are part of and we need to manage, but sort of almost removing that self-blame can almost free you up a little bit, so that perhaps some of that gratitude, it's a bit like the sun behind the clouds. When you free some of that frustration and blame on yourself, you know, that the cloud can part, you can start to feel that heat of the sun again. You can start to, oh, okay, it's not that bad. Okay, it's not that bad. I've got a nice house. You know, I can make myself a cup of tea. I've got a nice sofa I can sit down on, and I can just come back to a sort of baseline. And maybe in half an hour, things will feel very, very different.
Hmm.
So I guess I'm not sure if that's particularly practical apart from the breathing part, but I think maybe it's just an awareness thing that
Hmm.
maybe is the most helpful here.
Yeah, definitely. No, I love that. And I really relate to that. I think ultimately it's making gratitude relatable to your situation because, yeah, life happens. Everyone has challenges throughout the days, the years, the months, etc. And it's kind of saying, okay, what's the best angle that I can take from this situation? And yeah, if it is just like, I'm grateful I had a shower today. I'm grateful I have 2 minutes to step outside and feel the sun on my face. Just taking those really tiny small pockets of connecting to actually like what you feel you need as well sometimes, I guess, because gratitude can be very related to, okay, I actually feel like I need to, I don't know, even just like put on Netflix and zone out in a way and be grateful for that.
Yeah.
Whatever you're connecting to in that moment, it's like, okay, I'm giving myself permission to do that. And I'm really grateful that I have given myself permission to do that. I also, yeah, love the idea of kind of physical movement because as you were saying earlier on, like we know that the emotions live in the body and definitely in those moments of frustration, of anger, of potential sadness, like whatever's going on, that can easily get stuck. And then you can kind of fall into that victim mentality, I guess, that everything is bad, everything's going wrong. And yeah, maybe some self-blame creeps in as well, thinking, oh, this is all my fault. Why is it not working? Or why does the world hate me? Or why can't I do anything right? Whatever it is. And if we don't shift that energy around, then that gets stuck and can lead to problems later on, I guess. You know, it's kind of linked to trauma with Gabor Mate's work and also just like physical pain in the body. Like if things get stuck, then yeah, you might get like that shoulder pain or that bad lower back pain or whatever it is. So just being conscious of having that compassionate angle to look at it and be like, okay, this is going on. It's very stressful. It's like a lot to go on. I'm still grateful to even have this moment, to even, you know, for instance, have this quality time with my child, even though they won't sleep. But afterwards, I need to go upstairs, take 5 minutes, scream, shout, dance, shake it out, do some yoga, whatever it is, to move that energy around, because otherwise it's going to get stuck into the body, right?
Absolutely. It's yeah, I love that you quoted Gawamate there. It's I think this is our natural state of being, the state of gratitude and the state of calm. So yeah, anything that's getting in the way, it may be that it's sort of residual trauma, or maybe that it's sort of stuck emotion. So any work that can be done on sort of clearing that is definitely going to unlock that more sort of natural gratitude, that calmer space that we can have. Joy.
Yeah. And why would you say gratitude is so powerful? I guess like what kind of, I don't know if you personally recommend gratitude practices to your clients, maybe like case by case basis, or like what, or maybe in your own personal life, like what has practicing gratitude kind of given you back, I guess.
Um, I suppose it's that sort of, we talk about that positive mindset, don't we, where you can choose to look at things in a way that is well, yeah, more positive, that's more optimistic, where you kind of see things as challenges, you see possibilities, you see hope, rather than seeing things as stuck or stagnant or, you know, inflexible. It's almost like the rain cloud versus the sun. Um, but you know, again, not in a forced way, not in a forced way. It doesn't have to be sort of that everything is sparkling and roses and rainbows. it's really quite simple. It's simple as just being in the body, like you say, the yoga practices and breathing and having a cup of tea. And it's important because when you're in that state, I mean, people talk a lot about manifestation. And this is how it works. If you're in that more natural state, you're more connected to yourself. You're connected to, the source, the whole, the abundance of the universe. You're connected to something that is deeper. And it is that sort of connectedness to your environment as well. So when you're out and about, it's like when you're learning to drive and you see learner plates everywhere. When you're out and about, if you've sort of got that idea of where you're going, and if that idea is generally positive, you'll sort of be exuding that. You'll be chatting to people, and you might share something. Oh, I'm really wanting to set up my own yoga practice. I'm wanting to maybe retrain as something else. Um, and you're more open to sharing those things because you've got this more natural, abundant type energy, and you might have these conversations that then are fruitful. Whereas if you're sort of going around with oh, I'm a piece of whatever, and you're not going to be having that same impact on your environment. You're not going to be getting as much from your environment because that interaction with yourself and others is sort of almost going to be a bit tainted by that negative self-impression you have. And actually others pick up on it. If you smile at someone, I like to smile at people now when I go for my walk in the morning, and some people look at me like I'm mad, and some people smile back, and it's really lovely actually, because you've sort of your that could make a big difference, because it seems to be quite rare. So it's I think it's a good thing to do generally. It's a sort of, and not because you're trying to do anything, you're not trying to help anyone, you're not trying to be a good person. It's more that it's just joyful to share that, and it's the sort of feedback loop. You're giving out and you receive, and you give and you receive, and you're working sort of in harmony with your environment a lot more. And so gratitude, you're sort of thankful, you're sort of saying yes to the world, you're being pleasant and caring and gentle with the world. You're going to have a more positive response back. So in a way, it's selfish. It's not. It's you're serving your own best interests by being grateful and by having this more connected attitude. But then, having said that, I'm not going to say to my clients, sit down and write down 1,000 times why you must be grateful, because it just sounds like school, or it sounds like some sort of horrendous detention. Write this
Yeah.
over and over and over again, because you
Oh,
must
my
you
gosh.
must memorize it, and you must act in this way. And people get that sort of response of, oh my God, I'm doing it wrong, I'm doing it wrong. And it's like, you're not. You're
Mhm.
not. You're actually doing it right. You don't even need to do this. You just being yourself is really more than enough. So yeah, I would say it's just simple. And the more you kind of search and strive and look, then it can sort of make it seem like a chore, when everyone has the potential to do this. Everyone can do this. But we can still talk about it, and I can keep coming up with tips and ideas if you push me.
No, I think that's really helpful. I think probably like a lot of people would want that positive mindset. And I'm thinking like particularly around like mum guilt and not feeling like you're good enough and not feeling like you're doing enough, and how this more kind of positive outlook on things can really like reframe that for you, basically. I mean, definitely speaking from my own experience, that the days where as you said, like the days where I wake up and I'm saying, okay, I'm grateful because I don't know, I have a really nourishing, yummy breakfast. I have like 10 minutes to do some yoga, and I have some quality time to go to the pool with my little one later. Like, just thinking about those three things and kind of really trying to embody that feeling of, wow, thank you. Like, this is really, really wonderful, really amazing. Flips the whole day around. Like, honestly, like then everything else just seems to be way more in the flow. Everything feels much easier. The challenges that do come up, because life happens, challenges happen, are much easier to overcome. And you kind of have a clearer mindset of like more creative solutions, I guess, to solve problems rather than problems happening and you looking at them being like, there's no way I can deal with this right now. Like, what on earth am I going to do? Like, I can't even like feed my daughter or feed myself. Like I can't manage this. Whereas when you just flip it a bit and say, okay, oh, I'm actually in control of my life and I can be really grateful for the things around me and pay attention to the little things around me, and then everything else is just much easier in a way.
And I think it's a habit as well, isn't it? Like you say, if you do it, you kind of consciously say, "Well, I had a yummy breakfast and I've got this nice swim in the pool." You kind of train your brain into seeing those more positive things. So it is and I think I know they've proven it takes 21 days even to form a habit. So you do that over and over again for just 3 weeks, and it can really transform your life. So that's a really practical, useful thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. No, I love that. Thank you so much. No, so thank you so much. Thank you for coming on and speaking to us and yeah, sharing your wisdom around gratitude. I'm sure lots of people have lots of takeaways from listening to you and maybe some ideas of how to bring just a little tiny, tiny, tiny slither of more gratitude into their day. If you are local to Oxford, then definitely go check out Clare. We didn't also mention that you are a Reiki therapist as well, but we'll just throw that one in there as well. So yeah, I'll link all her details below anyway, and we'll definitely have you back on for another episode very soon. So thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Clare, for being here. And yeah, we will speak very soon.